Hello everyone, Simo here again with the sixth and final part, yes, I said final part, of the in-depth build of the mighty Convair B-36 Peacemaker from Fiddlers Green. In this episode I concentrate on the undercarriage and other details to finish the model. You can't land an aircraft without some wheels, and I'm going to look at the simple undercarriage parts provided in the kit and totally reject them. Because Fiddlers Green do a fine job in providing models that almost anyone can build, they don't want to frighten people away by making complex parts so difficult to make that the whole model is rejected. I can understand that, I fully respect that position, but since I've spent hours making a model that Fiddlers Green can be surely proud of, I don't want to spoil the ship for a ha'porth tar, so I'm going to scratch build my own undercarriage and make it reasonably accurate. The wheels in the kit are simplified. There's just two sides and a flat strip which makes up the tread pattern, and this produces a boxy shaped wheel. Wheels like this look great on cars, but aircraft don't normally have wheels like this, they're more of a balloon shape. I'm going to make my own. The wheels are made by gluing layers of paper together, which are then sanded to shape. This makes a balloon profile with a ridge pattern. As everything here is made of paper, it should satisfy the purists. Now I've got a big sheet of circular blanks here, which I've pasted to 0.5mm cardstock. Here's the order that a wheel is made in, with a 24mm blank in the centre and finishing up with the tyre walls on the outside. Now, counting them up, I've got 10 wheels to make. I'm not going to bore you with all that, I'm just going to make one to show you how I did it. So let's start cutting out some parts. The tyre walls and the hubs are printed on satin photo paper. Here I'm just painting the inside of the outer tyre wall because it's easier to do now rather than later when it's all stuck together. I've got the sequence in place here, now it's time to start gluing them all together. This of course takes a little bit of time, so I'm going to get a wriggle on and push forward as fast as I can. Now I need to be able to sand the edge of the tyre, so what I'm doing here is coating it in super glue so it hardens off, and then I'm able to do that. So that's done, it's good, it just needs to be painted. After the black is dry, I give it a light dusting of grey, and that brings out the tread pattern. The undercarriage in the kit only has 9 pieces. I've cut them out here to show you. There's 4 wheels, 1 leg strut, 2 axles, a connector hub and a retractor strut. The real landing gear arrangement is much more complicated, especially with all those linkages for the retraction system. I'm not going to make it as complex as that, I'm just going to put in the main details. I've drawn a little sketch here as to what I want to achieve. Everything's made out of paper, card and toothpicks. So I'm going to start off with the main wheel hubs. And this is just going to be four pieces of card glued together with a hole in the middle to accommodate the leg strut. I'm going to use a toothpick for the leg strut itself, but it's not thick enough, so I'm just going to roll paper around it till it gets to the correct thickness. There's a linkage system which consists of 2 fulcrums connected on one side to a piston, on the other side to a strut, and that allows the full weight of the aircraft to be distributed evenly on the wheels when it touches the ground. That's in real life, of course. In the model, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to make sure that the wheels sit squarely. Little pieces like this, super glue is the modeller's friend. Unless of course you glue your fingers together, in which case it becomes your deadliest enemy. let that dry, and it'll be ready to put the wheels on. Now, if you haven't seen the film Strategic Air Command with James Stewart, I can thoroughly recommend that you should go and seek that out. It's a pretty good film with the B-36 flying sequences. But I did notice, and here's a still from the film, that the wheels have actually got an Air Force star in the middle of the hub. I thought that was pretty cool, so I've made my own to put on these wheels. So there we have it, the completed main wheel assembly. But was it worth the effort? Yes, of course it was. This is a fraught moment. Can I get the leg into the hole and set it all straight before the superglue dries? Simple toothpick acts as a retractor strut and makes everything sturdy. The nose wheel assembly has a curved leg, so I'm going to make my own with a slightly snapped toothpick, which I will super glue to make it hard and then wrap a strip of silver paper around it. The nose wheel doors were a little bit thin, so I've glued them to some 1/2mm cardstock. Now when the wheels are retracted, this flap opens up, and in the real aircraft this flap is quite a big thick lump of a thing, but the Fiddlers Green kit is just a printed shape, so I'm going to make my own. Instead of using card, I'm going to make it easy on myself and use some foam board, which is much easier to cut and sand into shape. The nose had two 20mm machine guns, and I'm making them here with a small thick piece of card with two pieces of paperclip pushed into it. The cockpit roof had a little observation window, so I'm adding one using an acetate blister from an empty pill packet. Good, it's time to glue the nose on. Now I have to make sure that it's not tail heavy, so I've already glued some weights inside the nose. couple of coats of gloss varnish on the windows will make the cockpit pop. The B-36 had sets of automatic 20mm cannons, 2 at the front, 2 on the top at the rear, and sometimes there was a third set at the rear underneath. Normally the cannons would be retracted inside the fuselage, but when needed, doors would slide open and the cannons would raise up. I'm not going to model the cannons themselves, just the sliding doors. The rear end also had some defensive armament, of course, 20mm machine guns, which I've represented here with, again, a couple of pieces of paperclip. Ooh, exciting bit, time to glue on the propellers. There are of course some companion pieces that go with the B-36. You may remember right at the beginning of this series I showed you the Mark 17 thermonuclear bomb. Another companion piece provided separately by Fiddlers Green is the F-85 Goblin. This is a parasite fighter which was designed to fit within the bomb bay and would ward off any enemy fighters that the B-36 encountered on its way to the target. Both the parasite fighter and the atomic bomb has been made to the same scale as the main model, which works out as 1/69th scale. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Fitting the whole model together. So here we are at the end of the video, and if you've reached this part with me, and especially if you started at part 1, I think you are fantastic, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Of course, it wouldn't be right to end this without giving you an honest review of what I think of the B-36 from Fiddlers Green. Of course, you can probably guess that I loved making the model. The kit is simple and cheap enough that it's not going to put novices off. But as I've shown you, there's plenty of potential to add as much detail as you want to make this an incredible project. So, all I can say is go ahead and make it. But before you do, make sure you've got somewhere to display it because it's massive. So with that, I will see you very soon. Bye bye.